How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that's a little bit more serious, which is capitalism and conflict of interest within capitalism. Now, on the surface, it's really easy, right? Capitalism, you just have a whole bunch of companies. Each one of them are trying to maximize their profits. Advertisers, of course, is going to appeal to your short-term gratifications. More rarely is your long-term gratifications because they want profits now. Most of the companies are structured this way because they want to see profits, this quarter, not like 5 years down the line or anything. Now, a long time ago, before I sort of woke up to all this, I guess, when you look at advertisements and you think that they are, relatively truthful, you buy certain things, just, sort of living life as it is without kind of digging deeper into the underlying meaning of everything. As I grew older, I find out one industry after another is just as corrupt. One of the first cases that I remember that's very, very corrupt is car repair shops. And then it moved on to dental work. And then now, recently, I find out how terrible our healthcare system is these days. So today I'm going to go through the psychology behind sort of marketing, what they appeal behind it in order to try to get you to buy stuff. And then I'm going to go through a few examples of things I sort of woke up to. And after knowing this, you kind of go, oh my gosh, who can you trust anymore? Can you trust anyone to tell you things or have you buy things that is in your best interest? Because most of the time, companies just want you to buy things so that they make a profit. Anyhow, let me begin. Marketers, of course, try to appeal to short-term gratifications. They try to sell you on stuff such as if you buy this thing, you can show off. A lot of girls are going to go after you or you'll look very sexy in it or whatnot. They want you to start playing certain kind of very addictive games or gambling. I kind of group them sort of together, because we all know that once you get addicted to it, you have these little trigger signals, I guess, whenever you have these short-term gratifications, you get endorphins and whatnot, and then it just keeps on getting you, to keep on playing all the time. And then, of course, you have drugs that you can get addicted to. Less so, which is salt, sugar, and fat, which are the things that advertisers actually use in their current foods in order to get you sort of wanting to come back for more. Sugar, when you eat it, you feel good, you get a high from it. And same thing with fats and salts. You can imagine that whenever you have them, you feel good, right? You're like, oh yeah, maybe you might even salivate or something thinking about a certain salty item, certain very sweet item. So this is just normal human chemistry, I guess, because we're wired to do it. And then the advertisers, they know this. So then they tap into this and try to get you to buy more of those products. We have to realize that a company's main job is to make money for their shareholders. That is how our economy is set up. Capitalism, that is the way. If they're not making the maximum amount of money, well, they're failing their shareholders. So this is the way it's constructed. So I do not think of this as companies being corrupt or anything. They are doing what they're supposed to do. We just designed it this way. Whoever invented capitalism, I'm not too good with the capitalism history here, but it's operating exactly as how it's designed. Maximum profit rather than maximize other things such as longevity or happiness within people for long term. The way it's set up, they want to make more money first. And sometimes they might appeal to things such as being environmentally friendly just so that the consumers that buy their products would go, oh yeah, some of the people more aware about being environmentally friendly, they go, that company is being environmentally friendly, so I'm going to buy from company A rather than company B. Some companies might be like super green or something, but that's all to appeal to you. They want to make profits first, environmentally sound second. Of course, it's sort of like a bitter way to think about things because I do think there are very, very few companies out there that are actually trying to do good, but there are ones out there that are doing really well. Maybe, if they're not for profit or something, it might have a higher chance of, doing good. Now let's think about which companies would actually profit from you living longer and living a happier life long term. One type of company comes to mind, which is a life insurance policy company. The longer that you live, the more insurance premiums that they're going to collect from you. But the deal here is that just because you buy the policy, they already made money. So there's no reason for the life insurance company to try to increase the average life expectancy of a person just so that they'll collect more in premium, because this is incredibly difficult to do, of course. As a side note, when I talk about life expectancy, yeah, the United States have, a relatively high life expectancy, but then you have to factor in how many days you're healthy during those years. So if you spend the last 10 years of your life in a wheelchair, that's not really life at all. So perhaps they should really change it to, happy life expectancy, or like able body life expectancy, which is what we really should be striving for. So all I want to say here is it's really, really buyer beware out there. Whenever they try to sell you on a good or item, service, or whatnot, they are not going to tell you what are the good points or bad points about it. Sometimes whenever you look at advertisements and stuff, it might even be erroneous, because they might have people generating scientific papers or whatnot, just so that when you look at it, you can go, oh yeah, that's believable. Companies are trying to make money. They will try to make money even at your cost of your health being not as good. Of course, it may not absolutely kill you, the next week or the next year, because obviously people are going to realize this, like if there's like asbestos or something inside, people are going to throw a fit over it. But if it's something much longer term, no one, it's really hard to prove this type of thing. So then if it's a longer type of thing, or like if it's something quite hidden, they might be able to slide this under the carpet and then, still sell you the good, and also recommend you a service that might have a certain low amount of risk, but then might not be the best for you. Now, let me give you a few examples. I'm finding out more and more industries are this way. You really need to spend a lot of time researching. And I feel like not everyone has so much time researching, or not everyone is going to have so much knowledge in every single industry, because every single thing that you do, okay, think about all the things that you buy out there might be terrible for you in one way or another. Maybe there's a better option out there, but who has time to, do all this research? All I have to say is that you really, I guess you got to trust things. You can't just, be jaded and go, everything is terrible for you, but trust, but verify. Let me go back to talk about car repair work. I sort of am suspect of this already, and I've ran into 2 instances in my own personal life of people, car mechanics, trying to sell me on services that I did not need. For example, one time I brought my car into a car repair shop. I just changed my brakes like 3 months before that. And then they told me, oh, your brakes are low. You need to change your brakes. I'm like, serious? Are you kidding me? They wanted, because obviously I knew they were lying right there. So, that was a very first instance. Another instance is I brought my car into a shop and they recommended me to do some valve job or something, and it was going to cost thousands of dollars. I decided against it, towed my car home, and I was able to fix it myself for about $300 rather than $3,000 or $4,000. So that's sort of like proof that it did not require the valve job. So that means, they were lying to me, basically. So what's wrong with this situation here, which is the car mechanic automatically assumes every single person that walks in there does not know anything about cars, and it's a high chance that they don't know anything about cars, because people, if they know about cars, then maybe they'll be fixing it themselves or whatnot. They take advantage of this, and then they can recommend certain services, okay? And then you're gonna believe them, especially if you are at a disadvantage. Maybe if you had the car there, towed there, it costs you money to tow it there. And if you don't take their advice, it'll cost you more money to move it from one place to another, which is, like sort of like a sticky fee. So given the chance that they know that, they might not know, if I recommend a certain service, more mechanics than not, I feel like the majority, more than 50%, there are probably good mechanics out there because they want to have a good reputation or whatnot. So I feel like there's a lot of them out there that would recommend you a service that you don't need, and then try to pocket a couple $1,000s or a lot of money. There are instances where you bring your car to get your oil change. And then they don't change it at all. They just kind of put it there because you walk away, you come back. Oh yeah, you changed the oil. It's there. It's ready. But then they didn't even change the oil. So then you end up running your car for another cycle of 3,000 miles. And then, you just did not get your oil change. So I recommend to whoever gets their oil change, you really need to at least know where the parts are. And then sort of like trust it, but verify, right? Just take a marker, mark that little oil filter if you know where that is, just so that you can tell that they actually took it out, put in a brand new one because there won't be a mark there anymore. And also you can check your dipstick after you change your oil, that the oil in there, it's clear looking rather than black, because usually, at the end of your oil change cycle, it will be black. So these are instances where I can tell you what you can do, but there are others as follows. Apparently, dentists in the United States remove a lot more wisdom teeth than is absolutely necessary. And this means more procedures, more risk of the person getting infections or something. So over in other countries, they don't do this as much and they are just fine. Now, there are instances where, this is important to remove. So I cannot tell you when can you or can you not remove it. You are more likely to recommend to remove a wisdom tooth than not, because when you tell your patients to remove it, you're going to earn more money. So the more you recommend it, the more money that you're going to earn, which is, a sort of conflict of interest here. So if you ask your dentist, what do you recommend? You have to know where the money lies. Now, if they will earn nothing either way, okay, then you might be able to trust their recommendation. For example, if you go to a country where dental work is government paid, and then all the dentists, they basically get a salary. They do not get paid on a per operation basis where, the more work they do, the more money that they get. If they're on a salary, then I don't even have to look it up. I feel like they're going to have a much less likelihood, and I remember seeing some statistic on this, that they would recommend a wisdom tooth removal simply because, hey, they don't want to do that much work. They only need to do it if it's absolutely necessary. Of course, lazy dentists maybe in that situation might not want to do any work at all. So then they might sort of err on not doing it even. So, you really got to look at conflict of interest here. Another thing that I became aware of is medical work. Your doctor out there gets paid a salary and they get more money the more procedures or diagnostic work that the hospital gets. So at the end, maybe the hospital earns a lot more. So then they are incentivized to do more diagnostic thing, as much as they can get away with. So can you imagine a situation where, okay, you have a procedure where, it's just diagnostic, just take some blood or something, but there is a non-zero chance of something going wrong, okay? Maybe you have to take some pill or something. There's let's say 1 out of 1,000. And, the doctor knows this. They go, this is a very low risk thing. However, if you do it, they make a certain amount of money. So can you imagine yourself in that position where, if you don't really need this diagnostic at all, but then you might be more inclined than without the financial incentive here to recommend this diagnostic or procedure. Therein lies the conflict of interest again. Because of this, it's really hard to figure out, does my doctor have my best interest at heart? Do they want me to live as long as possible and as happy as possible? What I recommend is something drastically crazy, which might not be implementable at all, but the hospital needs to get paid by the number of healthy years that you live rather than just on a per procedure basis, because right now these days they earn more money by prescribing you more drugs. The more drugs that they sell you, the more money that they make. The more procedures that you go through, the more money that they make. This is the wrong incentive. It's sort of like one of those optimization problems. When you optimize it, when you give it certain parameters to optimize, well, the industry as a whole is going to try to optimize according to that, which right now is called profit. They don't care how long you live. They want you to live as long as possible, of course, in order to have you take as many drugs as possible, so sort of drag it out so that they, consume as much money from your pocket into their pockets. What should be done here instead is really they should be paid based on how many healthy years that you live. So they are incentivized to get you to live as long as possible, as healthy as possible. So, as soon as you fall ill or something, well, they don't get paid anymore. So then in this system, they would try their best in order to figure out how to keep you healthy, not just, keep you taking drugs and such. To conclude this conflict of interest in these medical procedures as well as your medication, I have to note that doctors, I feel like they got into the profession to heal people. So sometimes there might be official boards and stuff that might sway their opinions. Now, I'm not saying doctors are evil or anything, but I feel like when you incentivize people in the wrong ways, on average, they're going to, follow a certain behavior that may not be in our best interest. Let me move on to talk about food sales. Selling food is a big business. Out there, there's a lot of stuff in the grocery aisle. Companies are inclined to make shelf life last really long. So they're going to put in preservatives. They're going to try to make things so that it lasts long, basically. The whole purpose for the food companies here is to try to get you to buy their products, regardless of your health. So then you might see, things that say, oh, this is healthy for you. But then if you look really deep, you might end up finding out that, oh, it's not healthy for you. And then they might even have all these logos and stuff saying, this is certified by whatever certification or whatever government agency or whatnot. So just because some sort of association says it's healthy, you might want to take another look at it in terms of their conflict of interest, how they are tied to, the food company itself. Maybe, the board member or something used to work for a certain food company and then they work at the government agency afterwards. The whole goal here is to sell you on their products. They want maximum profit, so they want maximum shelf life, even if it's detrimental to your health. 610,000 people die every year from heart disease. 328 million people live in the United States. So this is about 1 in 500 people will die from heart disease every single year. It is to my surprise that I've been eating an American diet. And if I continue to do so, I am going to probably die of heart disease. This to me is a wake-up call because I just sort of follow a lot of whatever magazine says. A lot of times you might see commercials that go, oh yeah, this is healthy, that is healthy. The thing is, you really have to take a double look at this. I've since realized that a lot of the processed food, anything that is, packaged, basically, it's not all that good for you. Even if they go, oh yeah, it has good fats, not bad fats, you really need to reevaluate this. When they package it up, it's not natural, basically. And then your body, having an accumulation of unnatural items, be it refined oils or refined anything, basically, it's sort of attacking your body in ways that is not natural. And then, that's leads to all sorts of problems. All of this is what I believe stems from misleading advertisement. Now, you can't outright have false advertisement because, you're not allowed to do that. But a lot of times they might twist things in such a way so that, you sort of lean towards that way. That's all they need. They just kind of need you to go, oh yeah, this is healthy versus that. So I'm going to have this instead. So all of these instances for conflict of interest, so many things, so many industries have, I feel like, betrayed me. I am just angry. I'm a little bit sad as well at just the whole economy, basically. Who am I mad at? I can't be mad at like a particular industry because it's working the way it is. It might just be, just capitalism itself. Although it's the thing that works. It's the thing that that is the best that as humanity we know. That is, it makes things go forward. It makes our technology go forward because, people are incentivized by money. By money, people make things advance. Companies make things advance. So it's like a conflicting feeling here. Yes, they improve society and stuff, but at the same time, capitalism, oh my gosh, it kills people at the same time. Maybe in the future, we need a system where it optimizes livelihood, happiness, long life, able-bodied lives, just certain metrics that we actually care about as human beings, rather than just money, because money, it can do other things, it can do a lot of good things, it can do a lot of bad things, but maybe it should be paid, maybe people should be paid in terms of how well you make another person, how much more healthy that you make another person. For example, like the doctor example, where the healthier, the longer you make your patients, the more they get paid. So if you're bringing value to other people, you might get docked for selling them cigarettes or something, and then they lose their life. There must be a way of, I guess, tracking how well that you do. This is probably impossible or whatnot, but that's the idea. So thanks for watching, everybody. This is just sort of my musing, I guess, of a whole bunch of different industries. I know this is all kind of getting kind of meta and stuff, but just keep on talking about money gets a little boring sometimes. So a lot of times I just kind of sit around and think about, what is important to me? What can I talk about passionately? Sometimes these things are in my head and I'm like, yeah, I can't think about anything else, because I can make a video about credit cards and stuff. I can talk about it, but then, I'll have this other thing that I am basically concentrating my whole time on. 90% of my thoughts are related to this. So I have a lot to talk about. This video is long enough. Thank you for listening. I hope this sort of gives you some food for thought. Makes you a little bit more careful in terms of being a consumer whenever you buy certain goods or services. If you're interested in supporting this channel, check out my Audible link down in the video description below, where you can get a free audiobook. And by the way, let's talk about conflict of interest here. My incentive here is I want to get you guys to buy this book, because then I would profit. So then you can think about, well, I'm making this video, I talk about these little various topics so that, it might be entertaining. Maybe you appreciate this and then you'll buy that book. Actually, this audiobook, you don't have to pay anything. You just have to click the audiobook link down below, and then you can get a free book. And if you don't like this service or this audiobook that you get, you can actually cancel it before the subscription expires, and then you don't have to pay a thing. I actually personally got 3 books so far. I think this service you can only get 1. I got other books because of some coupon or something. So you can cancel the subscription before it expires, and you can still keep an audiobook for free and still help benefit this channel. So all this, if you're willing to do it, it costs you nothing. Don't forget to push that subscribe button over here and ring that bell icon. Thanks for watching.